Last year, someone asked me a question that blew my mind. It completely unraveled my understanding of how brains work. So they said, when you close your eyes, can you actually see images in your mind, like pictures? And I laughed. I'm like, oh, because I thought that was just a saying. Apparently, it's not. Hi, I'm Anna, and I talk about beauty and life through a recovery lens, learning how to live one day at a time really well. And today, while I finish off my makeup, because I'm not quite done, I want to share something that genuinely shocked me about myself. I have aphantasia, and I didn't know. Here's how I realized it was actually true, because I didn't believe it at first. And it's not just something that I've ever really talked about. I was asking a friend about it, and they were describing how they see things. And they said, okay, picture a beach. Can you see it? And I said, yeah, well, I know what a beach looks like, yeah. And they said, no, but can you actually see it? And I honestly thought they were joking, because when people say picture this or imagine you're on a beach or whatever, I thought that was symbolic language. I actually thought we were all just pretending, like when you're in a meditation and the instructor says, imagine you're walking through a forest and you can see the sunlight through the trees and you notice the colours and the textures. And then afterwards everyone shares these really vivid cinematic experiences. Sometimes I just make something up just to fit in, but usually I would just sit there thinking, are we all just competing to spin the biggest story? Are we all in Delulu land right now? Well, it turns out, nope. They were actually seeing things in their mind. What is aphantasia? It's the inability to voluntarily create images in our mind. Some people can close their eyes and see full colour, high definition scenes in their mind. When I close my eyes, it's black. I can think about things, I can describe them, I know what they look like, I can tell you what they look like, but I just don't see them. There's no internal movie, there's no slideshow, it's nothing. I can't do it on purpose. And the wildest part is I lived my entire life thinking that this was absolutely normal. And this is where it gets interesting. I love reading. I can describe characters, I can unpack the themes, but when I read a novel, I literally don't see the main character. There's no face. So if you ask me, what someone looks like, I can tell you what the author described. I can explain it. I can even critique it. But I'm not visualizing the character walking through a scene. There's no mental casting director in my head. And yet I feel the story deeply. I understand emotion. I connect to the narrative and I grasp nuance. I just don't see it in my mind. And when I realized other people actually do see it, it was mind blowing. This explains also so much about my experience with meditation. All those guided visualizations where you're supposed to imagine light washing over you, or a safe place, or a future version of yourself. I always felt like I was failing at meditation. Everyone else had unlocked this secret VR headset in their brain, and I was just sitting there in darkness trying to follow instructions. But now I realize I wasn't broken. My brain just works differently. And honestly, that's been really freeing. In recovery, we talk a lot about self-awareness and being in the moment and learning how your mind works instead of fighting it. And finding out I have aphantasia was one of those moments. It's not a deficit to me, it's data, it's info. There's something deeply fascinating about discovering something fundamental about yourself in your 50s, like me. How many other things do we assume are universal that just aren't? It made me think about how often we compare our internal world to other people's descriptions, and how often we assume that we're doing it wrong. For years, I thought people were just exaggerating their imagination. Turns out I was the outlier, and that's okay, because my brain compensates in other ways. I'm very verbal, I'm very conceptual, very analytical, and I think in language, in meaning, in structure, just not in pictures. I want to share this because if you're someone who struggles with visualization, feels like guided meditation doesn't work for you, doesn't see characters when you read, or you think everyone else is just being a little bit dramatic, you might not be broken either. Your brain might just be wired differently like me. And that difference doesn't diminish your creativity, your intelligence, your depth, or your emotional capacity. It changes the interface, that's it. Yeah, last year I found out that when people say, picture this, they actually mean it. Mind blown. So if you have aphantasia, I would love to know, when did you realise? And if you don't, I'm genuinely curious, what does your mind's eye actually look like? Because apparently some of you have an IMAX theatre in there, and me, I've just got subtitles. If you found this content interesting, then please feel free to like and subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you next time in my next video. Bye for now.